Well, welcome to everybody for our second elevation call of the month, second and final. And welcome to Hal
Hey,
Henson.
thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Hal Henson snuck in. Glad to see my husband here. But just wanted to welcome you guys and say thank you. Some of y'all drove a long way to be on this call tonight. And so I see we got
Drove a long way.
Well, yeah,
I know
Judy
Judy
and Susan drove
okay,
10 hours
just to get back in time to
just to
be
get
on the
back in
elevation
time.
call.
Exactly. And Deborah Ray is actually en route to Europe right now. So people are kind of all over the place. Welcome to Pat Poole and Karen Hale for joining us. And what I wanted to do, Hal, if with your approval, I'm going to have you just
Oh, good.
go
You've
ahead.
got those notes because I was looking at these and these didn't make any
No,
sense. Okay.
we're going to start you guys with on a positive note. We're going to talk about leaderboard, which we love to recognize people who are enrolling. And so Hal's going to review.
So the 21st of the month.
Right.
These are the people on the enroller leaderboard. And remember, this month there's some money available as a promotional for top enrollers. I think through the top three from Zalise. Is that right?
Well,
top through
there's
wholesale.
Wholesale's top three, and then just general business
okay.
kits is top like 10 or 5.
Some extra money available.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's recognize those. At number 8, Barbara Durkee out of Arkansas. At number 7, Stephen Jenny Todd out of Florida. At number 6, right ahead of the Todds, because we always want to beat the Todds on the leaderboard, is Hal and Lisa. And then Brett Sauter, number 4, out of Ohio. And then Linda Joyner, who I think will be, is she on yet? Hopefully she'll be on. Because I know you were kind of counting on talking to her
Susan
later.
will stand in for her.
At number 3, yes, Susan can for sure. So anyway, congratulations to all of you. We've got some more time this month to hit that. Would love to see all of whoever to make some of that extra money for hitting in the top 3 on enrollments and then through top 10 for. Was it?
I think it's top 10 through just a business kit enrollments.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So then over on personal volume, looks like the Todds are spending all their money over here with Zalise this month with Blue Angel Medical, and then also they have another position under Stephen Todd. So with that being said, congratulations.
Crushing both leaderboards, Todds. You guys are amazing. Your
consistency and persistency is an important thing in anything, really, anything in life. So that's our leaderboard.
Well, and so I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what's happened since the last time we were on Elevation. And I'm going to ask Susan Everett for help on this because one of the privileges I have is personal coaching, and Susan has to talk to me every single Tuesday, no matter what the weather is, no matter where she is. And I'm tracking her down like wild game going, hey, Susan, it's Tuesday. And my assignment to her a few weeks ago was, hey, I'm coming to Evansville, and what would you think about bringing together a group, your team? Your team is expanding, so let's get everyone together. And I'm like, I think I have a small location. It's a different place than we've met before, but let's just have a really, really small meeting. Let's bring together your team, your growing team. And Susan said, you're muted. She can't get it unmuted.
Can't get it unmuted.
Okay, let me try this.
What did she say?
Now I got
there
it.
We go.
I figured it out. Okay. Yes. And that's what I said was, okay, let's do it. Right.
Because that was
enthusiasm. She said it with enthusiasm.
Right. It was really just a courtesy question. When I ask you that, you have to say yes. Right, Judy?
No,
Judy's
they
absolutely
don't have to.
and so
I'm the only one that has to say yes to you.
And so, Susan, what did that mean, Susan? What do you do when you're hosting a meeting?
Well, one thing, you try like crazy to invite people to get somebody there, and you encourage your team to invite people to get people there. And then it's a matter of, crossing your fingers that somebody shows up and, preparing the event, but you did most of that, the site with some kind of at least water, if nothing else, and just get ready for it. And let's see, then I had to try to get a a current presentation, even though the resource board was shut down and I couldn't get one, but you finagled that somehow. So it's great. It's nice to know people in high places, and then tried to get ready for it. That was it. That's all.
And you did an amazing job. So I was expecting a super small meeting because, in my opinion, you've got a team that's fairly young right now with Linda Joyner and Megan, fairly newer team. And so I didn't really think we'd have just tons of guests. I really expected to have just a few people. And then here comes Linda Joyner with a few guests, and they just kept coming.
Yes.
And so I wanted you to talk a little bit about how did that make you feel, just to, see the number of guests that Linda had to bring in?
Well, let's put that in perspective just a little bit too, because I don't know how many people on this call would know it, but Linda's son was hit in a hit and run accident, and he was walking and hit by a car, and they left the scene, and so he had major injuries. And so Linda had been in Indianapolis, so that's like what, 4 or 3 hours away, for 10 or 12 days prior to this meeting. And so I had just told her, Linda, don't worry about the meeting. Lisa and I have it. We'll go through the presentation. You just try to be there. We'll support you. And so, put that all in perspective. And then she walks in, and, there's, like you say, guests just keep coming. I think, was there 7? Did she have?
I think
she
so.
had 5 guests and one of her downline there, something like that, or 6 guests in a downline, which made me, it was kind of embarrassing because, she had way more people there than I did. Let's just say it that way.
It happens. Believe me, we all know how that feels.
Yes.
And so
it was awesome. And she had just, she'd made the phone calls. She followed up. She had talked to people, in the past. And then the 2 days that she was in Evansville prior to the meeting, and I think she'd made some phone calls before, but primarily those days, she went back to those people, confirmed with them again, reminded them again, and they showed up. I mean, I think she had a couple people that didn't, but big deal. She had all these people that did. That was awesome.
And Susan, you did a great job, just with the front part of the presentation. I did a little bit on the business, and then I turned to Linda, since she had all the guests, and I say, hey, what am I forgetting? And she stood up, and she literally had a gift of gratitude for every single person who came with their name on it. And it was an envelope, which we didn't really know what was in it, but she recognized each and every guest that she had by name, and just had a beautiful thank you for them. And I was so moved by that. I told her, in fact, she stayed after the meeting and we chatted a bit. And I said, Linda, I learned something from you tonight about gratitude. And I'm hoping that she will join at sometime, because she has a whole philosophy on that. She's lived life. She's done businesses. She's a chaplain. That's where I met her, through you, Susan. Hospital chaplain. And she had beautiful gifts of gratitude for every single person. And I wanted to get your take on that as well.
And when I heard about it, of course I wasn't there, but when I heard about that, what stood out to me is it didn't really matter what the gift was so much. I don't think they were significant gifts. I think probably, as far as value, pretty small, but it was her expression of gratitude, personalized gratitude to each person that came, that I was like, wow, that's a beautiful part of that gathering there in Evansville, that she did that. And what a way to demonstrate the way of life and business opportunities could be, not necessarily should be, but could be expressed. So anyway.
Any other thoughts on that, Susan? Because Linda, I wanted her to share a little bit, and she might be in a minute, but I'll let you kind of summarize just that point.
Yeah, I reached out to her. She's been doing visits all afternoon. Matter of fact, she left here about a half an hour ago, visiting Carol. And she goes around and visits shut-ins that she knows, either from our church or from the hospital, people that she's connected with, and that kind of stuff. That's what she does on the side when she's not either at the hospital doing chaplain, or she also preached the sermon at church this morning. And so busy person.
Wow.
And so,
that's
and
a
one
busy
reason
day.
Yeah, one reason why I bring that up is because we all talk about how busy we are and we don't have time to do things. And, it's like everything, you have time to do what's important to you and you work it in. And that's not to bash on anybody. I'd be bashing on myself if I was, but that's something that she thinks is important and that's what she does. And she works it in the cracks. And I thought it was really cool. I have never, I've given thank you gifts to people, and I can't remember. I think it was just like, maybe a sample of a Glow Shield and Edge or something like that. But I've done that to people before that met me for a one-on-one, but to do it, to thank people for coming to a meeting, it changes it changes the atmosphere, because so many times people think you're inviting them to a meeting because we want you, I want you to buy something, but when I say, thank you for coming and here's a gift, and don't say anything about, are you going to buy? It changes the whole mood and it changes that person's feeling towards you. I was impressed with it, and it was a tiny gesture, but I thought it was cool.
We're going to talk some more about that later.
Yeah. And in fact, just because I was very moved by Linda, and not just the beautiful gratitude part, but just the work. Because I mean, we all know how much work goes into getting 6 people, guests who've never heard this before, to come to a live meeting. That was really big. Karen, it was great to see you and Eddie as well. So we really enjoyed our peeps. But last Elevation call, I talked about the platform, this business platform. And I said, there's all sorts of reasons, there's health reasons, there's income reasons, freedom, we talk about all the reasons why we engage in this platform. But in my opinion, and what I have benefited as a person the most from, is the opportunity to learn how to develop our best self. And because of that, and because of my own lack of success in my first 13 years in this industry, I was fascinated with the people who had success and how they did it. People like Bo Short, and really studied the mentors who don't know me, and I learned about spiritual and universal laws. And the law that Linda exhibited is the law of gratitude. And Hal, do you want to share why gratitude is a law for us?
So, gratitude, as a law in general, is one of the highest forms of expression of our greatest selves, and yet it's so simple. It can be so simple to truly have a heart of gratitude, to say thank you. One of the practices that I've done for, I'm not going to say every night, but for a lot of years, over 20 years, I was taught early on in kind of my life-changing times back in the early 2000s to to tell God at night when you go to bed, say thank you for today. And and I'd been taught to say grace and to say thank you for this meal and those kind of things, but sometimes just the words, I mean, they have their value, but to have a heart of gratitude that's expressed is the highest, one of the highest things that we can do. When we, as a law, when we express gratitude, what it does is we're expressing gratitude for so many things that we have, if we think about it. And the law is that when we give gratitude, we don't give it to get more, but the law is that we end up getting more. We get more to be grateful for. So I'm going to say that again. The law that you referenced is that when we are grateful and we express that gratitude, we're not giving the gratitude to get more, but the law of gratitude says that when we are grateful and express that gratitude, the law is that we end up getting more to be grateful for. On the other hand, when we are not grateful, then it stops the flow of those things in our lives. It stops the flow of the things coming to us that we would be grateful for. And unfortunately, the opposite of gratitude is is often seen as, what was your word that you said? What's the opposite?
Entitlement.
Entitlement. In other words, an expectation that I deserve something, an an entitlement that I think should be a certain way, and they're not being that way. And so when they're not that way, we express clearly a lack of gratitude. We call it complaining or moaning and groaning. There are many different ways of saying that. So anyway, I don't know if you want to unpack that.
Well, and I just, with the Zalise reference, there's plenty of opportunities to complain and to feel entitled. I remember my first meeting in this industry with my first company, and I was so mad that they didn't have bathroom breaks and food for us. Like, I was like very spoiled and entitled. Like, I came from the pharmaceutical industry. They're supposed to feed you shrimp. You know, it's supposed to be good food. And I'm like, what the heck is wrong with these people? This is ridiculous. I had to pay my own plane flight to come out here. And I just was so entitled. And so I think about just the remodeling of me that happened. And the first law of leadership is gratitude. And it's a universal law that really, when it's violated, you know it. And so when you're inviting to meetings and somebody doesn't no show, and they guarantee that they're going to come, they promise it and they promise it, and then they don't show up. It's those things that give us multiple opportunities to bring our highest self. And you think it's about volume and enrollments, but it's not. It's the person that you become in the process of attracting those people to you. And so I love that. And when I was researching the law of gratitude, they talk about Newton's third law, and that is, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And so it's just science. But there's another step, and I wanted to remind you guys of the scale of consciousness. I want to share this with you. Do you guys remember when we talked about the law of consciousness, and we had this scale that has been proven through science, 30 plus years of science, that goes from 0, being you're not even alive, all the way up to 1,000, which one person in history has been able to have the vibration, the consciousness of 1,000, and that's Jesus. And so when you talk about the scale of consciousness, this was life-changing for me, because there's a point at 200 that's courage, where it separates the scale from creating strength and power above 200 to losing strength and power below 200. And
some of the things below 200 are like shame and atrophy.
And you can see that on here.
Yeah.
Guilt,
grief. Yeah. Grief, fear, anger, out of control desire. But then once we step over into courage, which is on the scale from 0 to 1,000, courage is 200. It's kind of the breakover point. Right. For after that become, things like acceptance and even neutrality, being able to be neutral in a situation where others are negative or that's, frightening or challenging. And so just being neutral is actually a very good thing, rather than falling into negativity and so forth. Well, and I have to shout out to Hal. I'm like, hey, Hal, we're talking about gratitude. Do you know where gratitude is on the scale of consciousness? Because the book I was reading didn't have the word gratitude on it. And you said? Somewhere between 500 and 600. It's 540. And so I just thought that was so fascinating that they can actually quantify the energy level of the emotion of gratitude. It's one of the highest achievable. It's one of the highest achievable vibrations in life. It's like the highest. It's an achievable thing by just intending to be grateful rather than, oppositional or negative or complaining. And it's our thinking and it's our words. So anytime we want to truly raise, even when we're feeling down and out, or it's just things aren't going well, or it's just our mindset is constantly in the negative, when we listen to ourselves, oftentimes it is an achievable thing to raise your level of energy and vibration and positivity and so forth, is simply to begin to express gratitude. Many times in my life over the last 20 years, I've heard it said, it's been suggested to me, I've suggested to others, look, one of the best things you can do is take out a pen and paper and just write the things you're grateful for. Just make a list, especially when you're down, when you're down in the dumps, things look negative, you're fearful, things quote aren't going your way. You're not getting what you want, not getting what you think you should get, all those things. Make a list of things you're grateful for and begin to read those even out loud, or make a commitment to yourself that each night before you go to sleep or as you're going to sleep, you're just going to say thank you. Thank you for, you don't even have to say for what, just say I'm grateful. Thank you. So anyway,
The other thing I thought was really interesting is that according to the research, the more time you spend in gratitude, so 540 is the scale number, the higher your vibration will go. It actually raises your vibration. And in the article I read, when you spend time in gratitude, it can raise your score to 900, which is higher than love, peace, and joy. And it moves your body's frequency up higher up the scale, and the healthier your body becomes, which I thought was a really fascinating connection between mind and body and emotions. And so I had mentioned to you guys the Arete book that I really am enjoying reading with Brian Johnson. You guys heard me talk about this quite a bit. It's a thick book, but it's small little lessons.
Small little lessons, yeah. We've been following Brian Johnson, what, about 3 or 4 years or more? He finally came out with a book, which is, we're grateful that he put all these teachings into these little short, was it not, how many, over 1,000? Is it over 1,000 little teachings? Anyway.
But I love this book just because he has the best of ancient literature and modern science in one book. And he gives many lessons, just like he calls them plus ones. But from Robert Emmons, who wrote the book Thanks and Gratitude Works, he's considered the world's leading scholar in science of gratitude. A couple points he said, as Hal mentioned, simply keeping a journal where you write down 5 things you're grateful for one time a week, that actually for 10 weeks has been shown to be a 25% boost in happiness. Interesting. So 5 things, you're going to write that down once a week for 10 weeks. It also, they have quantified that grateful people sleep 30 minutes more and exercise 33% more. And it is difficult to be super grateful and super depressed at the same time.
I think it's impossible. I think it's impossible. I think if you're genuinely working on gratitude, I think it's impossible to drop, honestly, below 200 or 300 on the scale. I think I will say, though, too, that it's impossible to be positive if you're in that negative without gratitude. If you operate without gratitude as a normal mode of operation, and you have to be self-aware, guys. I mean, this part of personal growth is, how are you with this? Anyone who says, what do I have to be grateful for? Or I don't have very much to be grateful for. Well, you need to check that. You really do. You need to check and see where you are with that, if that's the mindset. But you can actually raise that up by just looking around at the things and begin to make note and to express the gratitude. So
I'm just putting in the chat. Kayla had asked who the authors that we're referencing. So Ryan Johnson is another
Arete.
And then the other thing I wanted to say is there's a really interesting phrase that I thought was telling, and that is, instead of taking things for granted, we learn to take them as granted and to be grateful for them instead of taking things for granted.
Oh, I like that. You hadn't shared that one with me.
I know, saving that.
That is special.
That's a Brian Johnson add on. But this is, again, so these are many lessons that he gives, and we're on a whole section on gratitude. But the other thing I asked Hal, I said, so Hal, what's the number one obstacle to gratitude? Does anybody know what that is?
She said it a few minutes ago.
I was going to say us.
Us, yeah. Well, us.
Not you all
part
particular.
Of us? What?
About entitlement. They think you're being entitled.
Entitlement, Kayla.
Exactly right, Kayla.
Absolutely. And that sense of entitlement, we all of course, it's not us, but we all know people who have had that feeling of entitlement where the belief that the world owes you something. And because you're entitled to all the awesome things in your life and you deserve it all, there's no reason to feel grateful. And what is the remedy for that? Who knows? There's probably no wrong answer on that, but I'll tell you what he says. He says humility is the way that you can actually overcome entitlement. He says the humble person appreciates the fact that life is a sacred gift, that we are so grateful to live each and every minute and each and every day. And so I wanted to tell you guys that you are a gift, and you guys have been a gift to us. Zalise has been a gift to us. We have had ups and downs, all of us, through the business. There's been challenges, personal growth challenges, but we love the platform, which has taught me so much. And every day helps me to bring a higher self than I was the day before as we go and learn how to love on people and help solve serious problems that they have in their lives. And Hal, did you want to add to that?
Well, speaking of loving on people and expressing gratitude in a genuine way, I want to express gratitude to Linda and Randall Painter, who last Monday, when Lisa got home on the 14th of April, they had put together a little gathering at their home. They're great hosts and hostesses. They love to cook. They have a little mini farm in the middle of Northwest Arkansas in a residential area. But we really, Lisa's birthday was the 15th, and I was like, I want to do something for her. And I know for her, the thing that she loves the most is getting with the people that she loves and that love her. And, you don't want to take her to a movie on her birthday when she'd just rather be with the people. And so I reached out to Linda and said, what are we going to do? And so we worked on, but really it's Linda. Linda just took control and said, hey, I'm going to put out an invite. Who would you like to have? We had a few people, and there was a hodgepodge. People came from
Pat
and John
there.
Poole came up, which was awesome. And John made Lisa his special cherry cobbler, which is
almost gone.
Only because we had birthday cake too.
Yeah. Judy Blaker also contributed with her
Judy
amazing
Baker
cookies.
did, but people came, they cooked. They're great. They love to do things. People brought stuff. I asked if I could take my 4-year-old grandson, and he was right in the middle of it. And Randall gave him a little car that climbs up the wall at the end, and we've seen that working great. But expressing gratitude for them and that spirit of love and generosity is, I'm grateful for that, because she helped Lisa celebrate turning 60, another decade. Lisa's hit the big
over the
6-0.
hill.
No, she's not over the hill. Anyway, but,
Amen to
so
that.
I just want to express, that's and they clearly, when you walk into their home, you can just feel the gratitude that they have for life. They're really amazing people that I don't know how they do everything that they do, but anyway,
yeah, I got to
cool.
watch Linda feed baby canaries with a syringe. And I don't know if y'all saw the video I posted on that, but and Randall, you guys have not lived until you've had a steak on his grill, because he is a master. He's a grill master. And so thank you for sharing.
He grows his own asparagus and then makes asparagus soup with it.
Yeah, he does. He's pretty amazing. Y'all haven't lived unless you've gone to Linda and Randall's home. In fact, Linda, let's just invite everybody.
It's so good that we try to decide whose birthday is next and have it
Linda, she's like, come on.
Anyway, so we're grateful for that, but we are grateful for all of you, for the platform, for the products that we have, for the opportunity to grow as people and to have this conversation. If we didn't have this platform, this group of people would not be having a conversation about gratitude. And what I think, what we want to leave you with tonight, no matter what is going on in our worlds, we truly always can build a spirit and a heart of gratefulness and gratitude. I will say that there are, Steve and Jenny Todd are two of the most grateful, they I have the right word. They express gratitude
with
all
everything.
the time. They literally express it all the time. And it always makes us feel loved and appreciated. But what I know is that that's their heart. They do that. I've seen Jenny do that with people that she just meets for the first time, and it just exudes gratitude for who people are and just for their willingness to pause for a minute, just to exchange names, And so you're healthier in life. You're more vibrant in life when you can embrace gratitude. And, I will say that we all can grow in that area. We all can. All of us can improve that. And so hopefully tonight, this, thing that Lisa kind of latched onto this week, because it hit her heart that way, and to share with y'all tonight as our elevation. Because again, it's not just about climbing, the ladder of success with Zalise and making the money. It's really truly about growing as
It's a
people.
remodeling. It's been a remodeling of my own heart and soul. And two other things on gratitude. I wanted to express gratitude to Luis. He did a whole hour-long presentation on Wednesday on the power of social media. For those of us who are older, I might have to watch it 6 times to really get it, but it's great training on Instagram, Facebook, Reels, and things like that you hear about. So that was something worth watching. And then Kelly Etzel reached out to me, and she's in Bella Vista / Neosho area, Neosho, Missouri. And Kelly, thank you so much for just, I want to express gratitude to you. You've got an opportunity to invite some other people. Tell us what you've got going on with the Renaissance Fair.
Well, I'm going to be at a Renaissance Fair in Bentonville, Arkansas, June 15th and 16th. And I'm an artist, and I'm going to be selling my jewelry. I'm a glass artist. But I got a 12 by 24 spot that I've already paid for. And I asked if I could have something other than my jewelry. And they said, yes, I could. So I want to have a table for Zalise. And so I wondered if we could maybe schedule people to come. I know a lot of y'all are not in this area, but if this gets to other people that are, let's say, in Arkansas, or, they could come up and, be there for half a day, and then we can all, we'll all share in the names that we get.
And Kelly, tell us how many, you've done this before. How many people typically come to the Renaissance Fair?
Oh gosh, I've been to a Renaissance Fair. I've never set up at a Renaissance Fair, but I'm expecting a lot of people.
Okay.
And I am bringing a torch, so I'm going to be set up to melt glass. And I think that's going to be that's something, just like if you've ever been to Silver Dollar City and watched the glass blowers there. This is not glass blowing exactly, but it's essentially the same thing. It's just smaller scale. So it's very interesting, and I think people will be wanting to see that. And so if we had a table for Zalise, then I think that would be an opportunity. I believe it's going to be an opportunity to get the word out, and then we could have maybe like some raffles.
Yeah. And what we'll do, Kelly, is if anyone is interested in that, you can text me if you don't have Kelly's number. If you have Kelly's number, you can text Kelly. But I mean, there are people that honestly, that is the way they build business, is they sell products at retail, at conventions, at exhibits, at expos, at every event you can imagine.
Well, Kathy and Sandy and
Kathy is our
Kathy,
number one enroller
I mean,
right now.
they've been number one.
They go
very
to dog
likely will
shows.
win the money this month again, which is great. And they've been in Zalise quite a while. They travel and do dog shows, and but they've become really good at this part of Zalise for them, and it's a natural fit for them. Just like for Kelly, I mean, she's an artist, and it's a natural fit for her to be there with her glass and her jewelry. But as a side to that, it's an opportunity to kind of like with Sandy and Kathy
Right.
to
Right.
share Zalise, Tom.
So anyway, thank you for the offer with that, Kelly. And so if you guys are in Northwest Arkansas or Southern Missouri and you want to participate in that, just reach out to Kelly or us, and we will connect everybody.
All right.
And so that is really the only thing I wanted to add. And then I'm going to turn it over to you guys for questions, comments, shout outs, offering of gratitude. But just a reminder that we are the kits, the enrollment kits right now, the $199 is the wholesale customer, does not require a social security number. Right now it's a pick 3. But what the company has allowed me to do is if somebody wants a glow and a shield or a CBD and CBG 30 mil, they have allowed me to contact the company and substitute a 2 30 mil products or 2 70 BV products for the pick 3. So just that's right now, a lot of us are using the $199 for enrollment for, they might want the pick 3. That's great. Look at what's there. But if they don't want that and they want the 2 larger products, we can do that as well. The $399 bronze, the $699
they're working
silver.
with us. We're not promoting this.
Right. This is just for
they're willing to work with us because our team is very active, obviously, and they'll work with us on that if you have someone to enroll and at that. So that's
and then the gold is $12.99 right now. So just so you guys know that could change, but right now, probably through the month of April, that is where the kits will be.
Mm-hmm.
So gratitude to you guys for being flexible, for being able to pivot mid-month on that and continue to keep enrolling. And let us help you with anybody else that you guys need to, and you're really good about reaching out and let me be involved in that. So I'm going to pause now and just turn it over to you guys. Any thoughts, questions?
I do, Lisa.
Yes, Jenny.
I've got a couple things that I'd like to say, and this goes along with your gratitude that you've been speaking so much of tonight. And I say it all the time. There are no words that can express our gratitude and everybody on this call for you and how y'all give just unselfishly of yourselves, your time, you're always there. I mean, I texted you last night. I don't know, it was 8:30 or 9 o'clock about something.
If it was 9 o'clock, we were close to bed last night.
Well, but she answered me right back. I mean, I just can't thank y'all enough. And another thing that I'd like to say, a shout out for Susan Everett. I want to thank Susan. And y'all, this is just a sidebar. This is a gift, a blessing of being part of this team. Susan lives in Hobstadt, Indiana, and we're down here, and I just see Susan on the Zooms, and I've met Susan in person and whatnot, but because of this group of people and because of Hal and Lisa and the love that they give to everyone, the example that they are, Susan, after driving 10 hours to Destin, Florida, got in late. She got up the next morning and drove another hour just to meet me for lunch. This is a gift that this business has given us. We're just deepened our friendship, and you can't buy that. You can't find that anywhere. This business is amazing, and Hal and Lisa are incredible. And Susan, I thank you so much. We had a great time. We got to see those 10 super secret Air Force bomber jets, fly over. We couldn't even talk while they were flying over us, but it just was a really, really cool day, but only because of Hal and Lisa and their efforts that they do to draw us all together as a team. That happened. So thank you so much, Hal and Lisa. Thank you everybody for listening to me, but there's nobody better than Hal and Lisa in this lease business. And don't y'all ever forget that.
We won't forget. We won't forget.
Thank you so much, Jenny. And it just thrills me when I got a text from Susan and she said that she was hanging out with the Todds. I'm like, nobody could go to Pensacola without really wanting to see the Todds. They are truly amazing. Y'all inspire us. And when y'all get together, man, those vibrations go even higher. So way to go, Susan. You and Judy. I love it. Any other last comments? I'm gonna go ahead and stop the recording here.